Hey guys, JG, physio coach here with you today, and I want to take this opportunity to talk you through the mobility toolkit and what you can expect to learn and gain from the experience of attending. Now, I think we all recognize that mobility is important, right? I'm sure if you're watching this video that you are somebody that thinks that, and that's become very, very accepted in our sort of community, in the fitness community. But something that's generally sort of swept under the carpet, or just maybe just not paid as much attention to, is stability and motor control. And when it comes to exercise or fitness, you've probably heard that phrase, you can't out-train a poor diet and stuff like that. And that's basically, implying that, it's important that you've got to have nutrition and exercise nailed down in order to get the best results. And the same is true of movement quality. So if you only address mobility and there was a kind of movement coin, that mobility would be one side and stability and motor control would be the other. So if you're only addressing mobility, it means that you're unlikely to get long-lasting or the best results that you could be getting if you were to be addressing the other side of the coin as well. And these are some of the concepts that we start to kind of really highlight and explain to you in the mobility toolkit. We also explain in terms of systems, so that mobility, and don't let me paint the wrong picture here, that mobility is important, but it's just seeing mobility where it sits in part of an overall process. A process that's very simply laid out, that's explained in a way that's easy to understand, without all the kind of jargon and which I think is very easy to come across if you just search for this stuff through the internet. So we really break it down and really make it easily digestible for you, so that by the time you finish this workshop, you're happy and you know exactly what you need to be doing when it comes to managing your own dysfunctions, your own mobility restrictions, and all the rest of it. So the first bit is anatomical awareness, and we spend a little bit of time going through some almost in a little bit of a kind of game sense about learning how to identify bony landmarks on your body and the muscles, etc., which is really important because when it comes to later on when we go through actual exercises, mobility ones with the foam roller and stability ones and activation drills and all the rest of it, you need to know how to navigate your body. Otherwise, it's kind of like fishing in the dark, and that old saying where they say like you'll know it like the back of your hand, but you've got no idea what the back of your hand is like. We need that to not be the case with this. So we teach you that. Then we go on to basically going through a system, if you've ever heard of it, called the joint-by-joint approach, which is just a way of sort of breaking down this concept of mobility and stability and giving you a better idea of what joints' primary needs are, as in what they're craving for, what you need to be looking at when it comes to mobility, and what joints probably don't need so much mobility, but you need to be focusing on strengthening the stability exercises. So we talk you through that. We talk systems more in a global sense, and all I mean by that is the overall picture in how you'd go about constructing a mobility program for yourself. And then we talk more specifically system and process wise, even just down to the fine details of when you approach the foam roll and you go to set off an exact process that you follow rolling, because I think sometimes we've come up to the roller and we're not sure exactly what we should be doing, so we just kind of roll around for a little bit for an unspecified amount of time, just until we think that's probably enough. So we want to take that all out of it. We want to make things easy to understand. We want to make things specific. We want to make things effective and efficient. And one of the ways we do that is by giving you these steps, these processes to follow, so that you know exactly, you've got certainty, you've got confidence when you get onto the roller, that you know exactly what you're doing and how long you need to be spending on there to be effective. The other thing we do, which is a big one, is go through, and this is essentially the sort of the first half of the workshop, is kind of finding out about yourself, self-assessment. Going through a self-assessment process where we look at joint laxity, where you sit on that laxity scale, if you're potentially excessive laxity or hypomobile, you haven't got enough. We do things in terms of specific muscle length testing, joint range of motion testing, things of that nature, so that you really learn a lot about where your own restrictions lie. And that's half the thing, is that if you're not sure, if you're not assessing, you're guessing, that old phrase. If you're not assessing, you're guessing, and if you feel tight, maybe you've just searched through the internet, maybe you've gone on YouTube to try and find a drill that works, But isn't that just the most inefficient way you could possibly do something? It's just sort of like hoping you win the lottery when it comes down to exercising. So we want to make sure that you're getting the best results you possibly can, but also not wasting time working on stuff that you don't necessarily need to be working on. And it's kind of this triage process of working out by going through this self-assessment procedure. It's working out what are your restrictions, and also giving a bit of a priority as to which ones need to be paid the most attention. So we go through that, and then at the end we sort of cap it all off. So we cap it all off by teaching you what tools you have at your disposal, how to go about using them within this process and using them most effectively, like I mentioned before, with a specific sort of a step-by-step process when it comes to activation exercises, when it comes to foam rolling and stuff like that. And then we teach you how to throw in the use of those tools, how to really navigate your way around, how to use the tools most effectively, and then put that together into a program so that when by the time you finish the workshop and then you're back in the gym the next day or whenever it may be, you can just fill in the blanks and basically start to construct yourself your own kind of personalized mobility program to really start getting some effective work on your own restrictions and not somebody else's. So I hope that helps explain things. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a shout. There's a contact form on my website, which is www.jgphysiocoach.co.uk, or alternatively you can email me at j@crossfitwarrington.co.uk. Okay, cheers guys, and hope to see you there.